Naoya Makoto is your typical middle schooler who used to live in the countryside but recently relocated to the city to live with his aunt and attend a city middle school. He arrives at the train station and is greeted by his aunt, who is introduced as Meme Tua. She seems to be of a very eccentric nature and takes him to her house. As soon as he enters the house, she says nothing and behaves as if nothing is amiss, so out of politeness, he doesn't ask anything. During the dinner, they sit together, and again, the futon rap girl has been propped up on a chair on the dining table, but still Meme hasn't acknowledged its existence. Makoto couldn't control it anymore and asks his aunt about it, but she replies that she doesn't know what he was talking about and that she lived alone. Makoto pushes her for more info again, and she finally says that she is her daughter, but doesn't elaborate on anything else. The next day, he goes to school as the new transfer student, and everything goes well. When he returns, he notices the girl sitting on the futon, watching radio static on a TV. He asks her questions about herself, which she replies in a very cryptic fashion. They later have pizza, and during the night, Makoto goes out on a bike ride and takes her with him. He shoves the futon wrap girl into the basket of the cycle, and after reaching a deserted store, he gets out and helps her out of her futon. The girl is revealed to be of the same age as him, with blue hair and excessive beauty. She falls down on him and tells him that her name is Ario Tua, and she's an alien who is on Earth on a secret mission to assess the life forms here. Makoto and Ario go to a park and have some dinner, where they talk more about themselves. Ario only speaks in cryptic language, implying aliens at every turn. Makoto takes her home and puts her to bed. The next day, he goes to school and has an uneventful day, but when he was coming back, he meets up with one of his bubbly classmates named Ryuko Mifune, who strikes up a conversation with him. They both bike to school, so they form a friendship and ride their bikes back to their houses. He reaches his house and again spots Ario wrapped in a futon, waiting near the door, asking Makoto to take her for another ride on the bike. He tries to avoid it at first, but then gives in and takes her with him. They go out and she gives him directions that lead him to a seashore with a sandy beach. Makoto, who has never seen an open water body before, gets very excited and starts playing around in the sand, whereas Ario walks in the water and almost drowns, if not for Makoto, who saves her and brings her back. He asks her why she did that, to which she replies that she often comes here, and when asked how she comes here, she replies that she flies here. He takes her back home, and on the way he spots Makowa, a weak, tall girl from his class dressed in a sandwich costume, and they start talking. Makowa recognizes Ario and asks him about her. When Makoto says she is her cousin, Makowa asks why she disappeared a year earlier. Apparently, she used to go to the same middle school, but one summer day she just disappeared and never came back to school again. He bids her farewell and comes back to his house and tucks Ario to bed. He comes down to the kitchen and finds his aunt sitting on the table eating pizza. He asks her about the information he got from Makowa, and his aunt affirms that it did happen. Apparently, Ario used to be a normal girl, but one day she just disappeared all of a sudden for 6 months and was later found floating in the sea. She has no memory of the 6 months, but since then, she has started talking about aliens. When she got on her bike and jumped off a bridge into a shallow river thinking she could fly only to fall down and break her leg. She was hospitalized, and ever since, she has been wrapping a futon around her. Makoto strikes a deal with Ario, and now every 3 days they go out in the night near the sea, where Ario tries to remember what happened. During the classes, he ends up spending a lot of time with Ryuko, as she likes to have her lunch with him, and they even bike back home together. One day, they even went into the city to different stores to enjoy some food and beverages together. Later, when he comes back home, he is greeted by his aunt, who comes into his room, and after playing a game of cards, tells him to sit near her. She then proceeds to whisper in his ears that he should back off and leave Ario alone. He only wants to be near her because he is physically attracted to her and nothing else. He denies it and says he is just curious, and that's what makes him spend his time with her. It turns out that Meme is a good mother who tries her best to give Ario what she needs, and she only ignores her existence because Ario wanted to be left completely alone. Later in the school, Makoto hatches a plan and decides to go along with Ario. He comes back to his house, paints the bike, and tells Ario that they are going to fly together. And if they can't fly, then Ario will accept that she is not an alien, but just another human being. Ario accepts, and he takes her with him and puts her in the basket of his bike. His plan is to descend down a hill at full speed and wait for Ario to freak out and tell him to stop, at which point he will stop. He starts rolling down the hill, but he underestimates the speed and Ario's obsession as she doesn't tell him to stop. And when he tries to stop, the brakes don't work. They end up jumping off the road into the sea where they don't get hurt, but Ario seems visibly confused that she can't fly. Makoto comes up to her and tells her that she is only an Earthling after all, and he makes her promise that she will now behave like a human and not an alien. After the event, Makoto ends up breaking his arm and is hospitalized for the duration of a month. During that time, he is visited by both Makowa and Ryuko, who keep him company for a while. He is eventually released and returns to his home after a few days. Meme is overjoyed by his return and plans a lunch at a restaurant for all three of them and tells him to get Ario. He goes up the stairs and finds Ario again in her futon. He gets discouraged, but as soon as he calls her out, She comes out of the futon and asks him whether his arm is okay. She has finally accepted that she is not an alien, and they all go together to a restaurant on the bike. Days go by without any events, and then Mime's birthday arrives. Irio and Makoto buy her food, which reminds her that she didn't celebrate Irio's birthday last year, and she resolves to do so the following day. Makoto goes to school and talks to both Ryuko and Meikawa and decides to buy some sweets from the shop that she works at as a present for Irio. He arrives back and gives her the present, which she is overjoyed by. Later, she tells him that she wants to return to society and work. Makoto is happy with this development and takes her all over the town for job interviews, but everyone knows her as the weird girl who disappeared and they refuse to give her any jobs. Irio loses confidence, but Mime tells Makoto to take her to a certain candy shop, run by an old woman who will definitely hire her. They go to the shop and meet the old woman, who seems to know their family very well. She immediately hires her, and this begins her first steps back into society. One day while visiting Irio, Makoto runs into Ryuko, who he suspects was waiting for him. She comes into the shop and buys some sweets, and after meeting the old lady, she leaves. While leaving, she tells Makoto that he shouldn't spend too much time with Irio because she has a bad reputation in society, and if he spends too much time with her, he may become isolated from society as well. He gets troubled by this thought and asks the old woman about it, who says that isolation doesn't really matter and everyone can live by themselves. Having friends is just another luxury, as you do not need them to survive, but it is good to have them. This gives him some relief. Later, while having lunch with Meikawa at the school, she suggests going to his house after school. He appears flustered but agrees. After school is over, she comes over to his desk, and they prepare to leave, but Ryuko overhears them and asks to accompany them. They agree and all go to his place. They go to Irio's room first and later spend their time in Makoto's room playing around. When they were about to leave, Mime comes back, but Meikawa whispers something in her ears and both she and Mime leave the house, telling Makoto and Ryuko to cook something together. The days passed by and Meikawa had a great idea. She proposed to her friends that they make some bottle rockets together and launch them with an older gentleman who always launches these water rockets in the empty space behind her shop. Makoto, Irio, and Ryuko were all excited to make these rockets and see them fly. The next day, they all gathered at Irio's house, where Meikawa taught them how to create these rockets. They all worked together, learning from each other and creating beautiful water rockets. As they worked, they chatted and laughed, enjoying each other's company. Once the rockets were ready, they all took a break and had dinner together. Meikawa cooked some delicious stir-fried udon, while Makoto made some rice balls and Irio baked a cake. They all took turns trying each other's dishes, and they were all impressed with the culinary skills of their friends. It got so late that Makoto offered the girls to spend the night with Irio. The next day, they all rode into the sunset on the beach to launch their rockets with the older gentleman. Mime also invited the old woman from the candy shop, and they all gathered to watch as the rockets took flight one after the other, creating a beautiful explosive firework. The older gentleman was impressed with their rockets and was happy to launch them for them. He explained to them the science behind these rockets and how they worked. Makoto, Irio, and Ryuko were fascinated by the older gentleman's knowledge and asked him many questions. As they watched the rockets soar into the sky, they all felt a sense of awe and wonder. The beautiful colors of the fireworks lit up the sky, and they all cheered and clapped as each rocket reached its highest point. Afterwards, they all gathered together to share their thoughts and experiences about the launch. They all agreed that it was one of the most amazing things they had ever experienced, and they were grateful for the opportunity to have made these rockets and launched them together. The day ended with everyone feeling happy and fulfilled. They all went back home, still feeling the excitement of the launch and looking forward to the next time they would get to make and launch some more rockets together. Summer vacation is finally here, and Meikawa invites Makoto to play baseball with her team. Makoto happily accepts the invitation and heads to the field. While playing, he learns about Meikawa's family background. Meikawa's parents live in the shopping district and run a bar there, while she resides in the city district. Makoto's team loses the game, but Meikawa is impressed with Makoto's skills and invites him to be a regular member of the team. Makoto gratefully accepts the invitation. After the game, Makoto returns home and finds Irio cleaning her telescope. She invites Makoto to go stargazing with her, and Makoto agrees. That night, they go downstairs to the yard and spend hours gazing at the stars. Irio is curious about Makoto's baseball game, and he tells her all about it. Irio is intrigued and asks if she can play too, to which Makoto happily agrees. The next day, Makoto takes Irio to the field and asks the team if she can play. They all agree, and they meet Ryuko, who is passing by to go to her basketball practice. Ryuko looks visibly jealous that she can't spend time with Makoto, but she leaves nonetheless. During the game, Makoto notices one of the players wearing an astronaut's uniform, but he doesn't ask about it. Later in the game, Irio hits the astronaut with the ball and she falls over. Everyone rushes to the bench to help, but as soon as she sees Irio, she sits back up and starts asking her various cryptic questions. This leaves Makoto and everyone else puzzled, as they have no idea what she's talking about. Despite this odd turn of events, Makoto continues to play baseball with his team, and he and Irio continue to bond over their shared love for the game. Makoto is grateful for this new opportunity to connect with others and create new memories during his summer vacation. He realizes that sometimes the best things in life happen when you step outside of your comfort zone and embrace new experiences. Despite the strange turn of events on the baseball field, the game continues, and the astronaut, now revealed to be a girl named Yashiro, continues to chase after Ario. However, Ario is not easily intimidated and keeps playing, dodging Yashiro's advances. Later, Ario and Makoto return home, eager to go stargazing once again. But Yashiro follows them, and the chase continues. Ario runs back up to her room, grabs her fugan, and uses it to knock Yashiro over, causing her helmet to fly off. To Makoto's surprise, Yashiro is revealed to be a girl of about Irio's age, with white hair. She introduces herself and claims that she and Irio are both from outer space. Makoto is taken aback by this wild claim and has had enough of Yashiro's strange behavior. He leaves her outside and goes back inside his house with Ario. The next day, Makoto comes down for breakfast and is surprised to see Yashiro eating breakfast with Meme. When he inquires about it, Meme replies that she found Yashiro sleeping outside and took her in. Meme later tells Makoto to drop Yashiro back home, so he takes both Ario and Yashiro on his bike. He drops Ario at the candy shop and takes Yashiro near her place, but she gets distracted by a pool of water, and they end up playing in the pool for some time. Makoto eventually returns to Ario, who is overjoyed to see him back. She asks Makoto to take her to the pool someday as well. Makoto is touched by Irio's excitement and realizes that despite all the strange occurrences, he is having a great time with these new friends and creating memories that he will cherish for a long time. As Makoto continues to spend time with Ario and Yashiro, he starts to get a better understanding of their personalities and quirks. He begins to see them not as strange beings from outer space, but as regular girls who just happen to have their own unique sets of challenges and difficulties. Makoto is grateful for this opportunity to make new friends and form close bonds with these girls, and he continues to enjoy his summer vacation to the fullest. Makoto was overjoyed to see Ryuko's success, and he could see the relief on her face as well. He walks over to her and she thanks him for his support. As they all leave the court, they run into Meikawa and some of her friends, who invite them all to go get some food to celebrate their victory. Makoto accepts the invitation and they all go to a nearby fast food joint to grab some burgers and fries. During the meal, they all discuss the game and how well Ryuko had played. Makoto, who had always been a huge basketball fan, couldn't help but feel proud of Ryuko's hard work and determination. As the night wore on, Makoto felt grateful for all the new friends he had made in this town, and he was looking forward to more summer adventures with them. He could already see the possibilities for what the rest of the summer could bring. Perhaps they would go on a camping trip, or have a pool party, or even take a trip to the beach. The future was looking bright, and Makoto was eager to embrace it. The next day, Makoto wakes up to another beautiful day, and he knows that it will be filled with more exciting experiences. He decides to go for a walk, and as he's exploring the town, he comes across Yashiro again, who is still in her astronaut uniform. Makoto decides to strike up a conversation with her, and she tells him about her love for space and all things extraterrestrial. Makoto is amazed by her passion and knowledge, and he can tell that she is truly dedicated to her interests. Makoto and Yashiro continue talking for a while, until they eventually make their way back to Makoto's house. As they walk in, they are greeted by Ario, who has been busy working on a new telescope. Makoto introduces Yashiro to Ario, and the three of them spend the rest of the day stargazing and discussing space. It's a magical day, and Makoto feels grateful to have made such wonderful friends. As the summer continues, Makoto spends his days playing baseball, going to Ryuko's basketball games, playing video games with Meikawa, and stargazing with Ario and Yashiro. He learns so much from each of them, and he knows that he will never forget these memories. Summer vacation has turned out to be the best one yet, and Makoto can't wait to see what the future holds. Makoto's journey of playing baseball continues with Meikawa's final game. Meikawa calls Makoto to remind him about the game and also to bring Ario along. Makoto reaches the pitch and he is ready to play, but suddenly he faces a problem. Meikawa's father has run away from the game, and Meme, the coach, orders Makoto to find Meikawa's father and bring him back. Makoto, being a responsible and determined person, decides to take on this challenge and sets out to find Meikawa's father. Makoto chases after her father, finally catching up to him, and tries to convince him to come back to the game. Meikawa's father is scared of the enemy team's pitcher and doesn't think they can win. Makoto tries to boost his morale by giving him some reassuring words, which motivate him to fight this battle until the end. With Makoto's encouragement, Meikawa's father decides to come back to the game, and Makoto returns to the field with him. Makoto's chance to bat finally comes, and he walks up to the field, ready to show his skills. The pitcher pitches the ball towards Makoto at an incredible speed, but Makoto, with his hard work and training, is able to hit the ball with all his strength and starts running towards the bases. In the middle of his run, Makoto thinks about giving up when he predicts that the ball would be caught, but a sudden gust of wind carries the ball even further, giving Makoto a home run and winning the game. Makoto's incredible performance at the final game impressed everyone, and he finally proved that with hard work and determination, anything's possible. This experience taught Makoto the value of perseverance and the importance of never giving up, no matter what the odds may be. He also learned that sometimes all it takes is a little encouragement to help someone overcome their fears and achieve their goals. Overall, Makoto's journey of playing baseball was a great learning experience for him. He not only honed his skills, but also made new friends and learned valuable life lessons along the way.